And so I hope that this Democratic primary is such that it doesn't leave, bitter feelings where folks don't end up voting for the eventual nominee, like happened in 2016, where you saw Bernie Bros and you saw when whatever their female equivalent is, say, okay, Hillary didn't fill my love tank. I'm going to sit home, or I'm going to vote for Jill Stein or for the pothead from New Mexico, or for, a write-in Mickey Mouse, whatever.
I am not one of many. I am the one and only. That is what I took from Joe Biden's message today. He was talking about taking on Trump, one-on-one, mano a mano. And the president seems to have taken the bait, on Twitter at least. Today, he gave the former VP, who held his first major campaign rally, a big turbo boost. Mentioned him in several tweets, despite his advisors warning him not to. Ah, what a theme that has become. Let's have two politicos. They represent the group Biden must win and the one he wants to appeal to from the right. Paul Begala, Ana Navarro, thanks to both of you. So let's start with posture, and then we'll go with what he staked out as an original position. So, Paul, the idea of what I just said in the intro, I'm not talking about anybody else in the field. It's just me. How do you feel about that? Righteous or reckless?
Very smart, Chris. It won't last. He'll have to engage his opponents at some point. But I think I am typical of many Democrats. I'm a lifelong Democrat. And I have no candidate yet in this field. First time in my life I've not had a candidate that I've preferred in the primaries. I'm going to watch and see how they develop. But this is what I'm looking for. I'm a JFK Democrat. I will pay any price, bear any burden, support any friend, oppose any foe to ensure the defeat of Donald J. Trump. You could be for Medicare for all or not. You could shoot my dog. And if I think you can beat Trump, I'm going to be for you.
Well, that's very mainstream of you. So, Anna, look, we all know how you feel about this president. However, you represent a strain of compassionate conservative that Joe Biden is hoping will listen to his message. Does he have a chance of that?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I think people like me, disenfranchised Republicans, people who do not want to vote for Trump, in my case, who will not vote for Trump, want to have somebody that they can vote for enthusiastically and without feeling like they are betraying our ideology, our principles, and our convictions. Joe Biden, for me, is such a person. Look, I'm biased. I've known him for 20 years. I knew him as a senator. I knew him as a vice president, as a candidate the first time. I knew him, as a regular citizen, and now as a candidate. And one of the things that I really like about him is that he's never changed. He's been the same guy that I've known for 20 years. But there are some people in the Democratic field who are, I think, rather scary to right-leaning independents, centrists, and disenfranchised Republicans, anti-Trump Republicans like me. You start talking about 70% tax rates, that scares us. Look, the idea of a Joe Biden who's got the experience, who is calling to our better angels, who is talking about unity. But I like Paul, there's no way I will vote for Trump.
No, I get it.
Even if he shoots Paul's dog, because he better not shoot mine.
Enough with the shooting of the dogs. It's the only thing all Americans care about.
No animals will be harmed in the making of this democracy.
But I hear it.
But I also, I look at the field of candidates that the Democrats have, and to me it looks like this Benetton ad, right? I mean, there's like one of everything, every age, every gender, sexuality, color, shade, language. It's an amazing kind of celebration of diversity. And I would say to Democrats, let it play out. See who does best. See who can perform best. There's no reason why you have to, this is not an arranged marriage. I enjoy it.
Well, look, there's something to be said by that. The only problem they have is they have to win. And Democrats have a problem, with all due respect, Paul, of falling in love with the idea of what a Democrat's supposed to be, and that it's got to be everything for everybody, and the dream is alive. And then you wind up getting your butt whooped because you didn't think about the X's and the O's and where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. So that takes me to this. The economy is going to be the president's cudgel against the left. He's going to say, look what I did. Now, I could argue the numbers all night, but it's about the feel of it. Here was Joe Biden on that.
The stock market is roaring, but you don't feel it. There was a $2 trillion tax cut last year. Did you feel it? Did you get anything from it? Of course not. Of course not. All of it went to folks at the top.
Now, ordinarily, Paul, feel versus facts plays to this president. He's going with the feelings, even if the numbers don't match up. You look at the growth rate of this economy over the last two decades, it's always around 3%. So we're not breaking any records right now, but it feels like it. Can feel work for Biden on this issue?
Absolutely. If you're speaking like he does right to the middle class. You know, the ABC News Washington Post poll came out today. 62% of Americans believe the economy works for the privileged and the powerful, not for the middle class. 62%, that's almost two-thirds of the country, when we're supposedly booming. I give free advice to Joe Biden and all the Democrats. Very important to litigate that tax cut. It's very unpopular. The dip in the president's approval came not only after the Mueller report, but after April 15th, when lots of middle-class families did not get the tax rebate they thought they were going to get. And if I were the Democrats, I guess I am a Democrat, if I were advising any of them, I would stitch together that $2 trillion tax cut with, get this, I've looked at the Trump budget. There's a $2 trillion cut in Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, $1.5 trillion cut in Medicaid, $845 billion cut in Medicare, $25 billion cut in Social Security. Guess what? That matches up pretty well. Mr. Trump and his party want to cut the middle class and give it to corporate America and the very, very wealthy. And I think that's a message that can stitch together the base that my party needs, the swing voters in the suburbs who we're trying to reach, and yes, even the rural voters who we have sadly lost. I think that kind of thing can be a web issue, not a wedge issue.
The president is at about 90% in your party, Anna. Right. Do you think that you can find a Democrat talking economics that wins over the head of a Republican?
Yes, of that 10%. Look, I think that Trump's base is loyal to Trump. They think he does no wrong, and they are going to stick with him no matter what. We've already seen that through the last 3 years. God knows he has done and said enough things where most traditional Republicans should have stayed away from supporting him, but that's not happening. And to me, you know, the reason Joe Biden is getting under his skin and is in his head is because Joe Biden can appeal to the same folks that Trump appealed to, people that have fallen through the cracks of this economy. But Joe Biden appeals to them from an optimistic angle. One of the things he said today is hope over fear. He said, truth over lies, unity over division, because that is what we are in the United States of America. Those words stuck with me. So I think with Joe Biden is not delving into the weeds, the policy weeds of taking on his other Democrats. And one of the things that I hope was a lesson learned from 2016 for Democrats and for people who didn't want Trump elected is that there are some things in life that are binary choices. And so I hope that this Democratic primary is such that it doesn't leave, bitter feelings where folks don't end up voting for the eventual nominee, like happened in 2016, where you saw Bernie Bros and you saw when whatever their female equivalent is, say, okay, Hillary didn't fill my love tank. I'm going to sit home, or I'm going to vote for Jill Stein or for the pothead from New Mexico or for, a write-in Mickey Mouse, whatever. Folks, some things in life are binary choices. It's going to be Trump and whomever is running against Trump. So don't make enemies to the point where you can't then kiss and make up.
Thank you for that slew of nicknames. I'm sure that it will make Twitter very happy. Anna Navarro, Paul Begala, I appreciate it.
I did forget his name.
Nobody will ever remember his name now. Thank you. All right. So we know what happened this weekend. Another synagogue attack.